Hi, my name is Andre Archer, and today I'll be debating the topic of whether people who would never consider shoplifting from a music CD from a store are correct when they argue that there is a difference between that and downloading the music off of a free P2P network. And before I start, my stance is that stealing is stealing and that they are the same thing. And it's important to know that we live in a generation that is the first to experience the massive transition from physical product to digital media. And this includes movies, literature, comics, but definitely the most significant change that we've seen in the market that suffered the most is the music industry. And this is due to companies such as Napster that were the first to allow individuals to upload music to a site. So that's that anybody could download for free, which is a click of a button. And this came with the spread of household internet globally. In the eyes of many, this change was revolutionary, but many do not know that when they're downloading music over a P2P network, they're actually breaking the law, and it's immoral in a lot of ways, as will be discussed. But before we discuss how it is illegal, it's important to define a few terms and to clarify what's actually being discussed when downloading over a P2P network, because the legalities of it are the most important part in defining why it's the same as stealing from a CD store. So what is a copyright in terms of music? Well, a copyright is the legal recognition of a work in the form of music, film, or others to belong to an individual or group. This group is generally the group that created it or wrote it, and the copyright is obtained as soon as it is written down or recorded and gone through an agency. Essentially, a copyright defines a recorded piece of music or work, the property of the person who created it, as if it's a physical being, and that person gives them that copyright gives them the exclusive rights to monetize their product and share it over any platform that they wish. And nobody else can tell them what to do, and they choose who's able to listen to it and how it is copied. Oh, and over what media it is actually copied. And then it's also important to define what a P2P network is. A P2P network is a peer-to-peer network between two computers or servers in which data can be directly shared between them. In other terms, a P2P network can be wired or wireless, but it is essentially handing over files in one form or another from one computer directly to the next, making downloading easier, faster, and much more direct between individuals and groups. And while this is good for collaboration and direct connection between professionals, it's not so great when it comes to legal matters, as there's not much filtering when it comes to P2P networks. And almost anything can be shared over it, including copyrighted music, even if it doesn't belong to people who are uploading. And there's really only one way that downloading over a P2P network would not be stealing, and that is if the original owner of the copyright, the writer, composer, artist, or producer, is the one who uploads the files to the site and knows that other people are downloading them for free. However, this is rare, as most people who do make music want to receive money for it and would go through a market store or something like iTunes or Spotify in order to do that, where they would receive compensation and credit for their work. So since they own the copyrights to their work, they're allowed to upload it to a P2P network and it to be shared through that. But it's also important to understand why both uploading and downloading to a P2P network are illegal for both parties when it's not the person who owns the copyright to it. And the DMCA, the Digital Media Copyright Act of 1998, was the first to really describe what an online provider is allowed to do when it comes to music and who's able to upload to it. So someone who purchased a song and is uploading to a P2P, this is illegal because they do not own the copyrights to it. They just purchased it and are able to listen to it. But as soon as they copy it, either from a physical copy such as a CD and burn it into a USB drive and then upload that to a site, that's illegal because they're copying music that they don't have the copyrights to. Additionally, the person who downloads it is aware that they're downloading it for free from someone who is not the original owner of the music or the person who created it. Thus, they are breaking the law as well. And this can be compared to say you buy a film, like a movie from a store, and then you take that film to a film festival or such, and then play it off as not your own, but people are buying it from you, and people are looking at it as this great work, and really they're obtaining it themselves. But the person who made the movie is not receiving any credit for it, and they're not getting any money from you taking it to the film festival anyways. So essentially, once one has gained access to someone else's property that is not theirs through a P2P network, this is what makes it the same as walking into a store illegally and stealing a CD, because they don't own the copyrights to it and they never even purchased the rights to listen to the song. Such as much how on YouTube nowadays, if a YouTube video or a group of creators uploads something that they have not purchased the rights to music, it will be taken down by YouTube, and the video will be banned until that music is taken out of it. And from a more moral and ethical standpoint, it is still clear how downloading music over a P2P network is equivalent to stealing from a CD store. As stated before, when downloading over a network such as this, you were taking the work of someone else without them knowing, stealing their property, which is immoral on its own. And just because it is digital does not change the fact that it is their property that you are taking, because they have worked hard on it and it has gotten published through them. And whenever you take something from somebody, they're not receiving any compensation for it. And over the past many years, the RIAA, or the Recording Industry Association of America, has estimated that $12.5 billion are lost every single year in the form of illegally downloaded music online or piracy. And that in 2009, only 37% of music listened to was actually purchased legally through stores or online. And downloading music over a P2P network, overall, it can actually be even more harmful than stealing from a music store, since it can become viral so quickly, in that one person who illegally uploaded it to a P2P network shares it with another, and then that person once again uploads it, and it can be shared globally in a matter of hours. And that's a very large issue for the music industry, and why it has started to fail so much, and why musicians and artists have had to switch to streaming platforms such as Spotify and iTunes in order to receive compensation for what they make. Thus, the notion that downloading music from a P2P is better than stealing from a CD store is not only wrong from a legal standpoint, as mentioned before with the copyright claims for it, but it lacks any moral ethical standing, and how you could justify downloading over a P2P being any different from stealing one's property from a music store. Thank you.